Hello! My name is Mara and welcome to Books Like Whoa. So I'm actually filming this in the middle of December and I'm gonna go ahead and do my haul video because I've already gotten several books as presents, so there's that. And I bought a lot of books through like Black Friday deals-ness. So yeah, I already have a lot to show you. So instead of, I assume I'll get more for Christmas itself. So like, I don't want this to be insanely long. So I'm gonna go ahead and film it now. And then any books that I get for Christmas, I'll just roll into my January haul. I do think some of my hauling is gonna slow down a little bit because I'm gonna be moving soon. And so, you know, I don't wanna be, I mean, who am I kidding? I already have a ton of books to move, but I don't need to make the problem worse. How about that? So without further ado, let's dive on in. First, let's start with a book that I got as a present, or like I got several, but here's one present I got. That is Shade, A Tale of Two Presidents by Pete Souza. So a friend of mine and her wife went to an event with Pete Souza here in Nashville, and they each got a copy of the book, and they're in the same house. They don't really need two copies of the same book, so she was nice enough to give this to me. I really like following Pete Souza on Instagram, so this has been a really fun kind of coffee table type book that I've been diving into, you know, sort of in the evening when I'm winding down. Then Beautifully Bookish Bethany sent me a lovely little present of some ARCs and a really cool Agatha Christie book. So she sent me a Tangled Mercy by Joy Jordan Lake, which I think is about racial violence and reconciliation in the post-civil rights South. So there's that one. There's The Darkest Child, which is historical fiction along the same lines, and that's by Delores Phillips. She sent me the Martian Chronicles by John Freed, which I think is sort of like a coming-of-age Bildungsroman type thing with like a mugging plot. And then this absolutely like, she just like really nailed me in this. I was like, you get my brand. This gorgeous bind up of 3 Agatha Christie novels, And Then There Were None, Crooked House, and Endless Night. The first 2 of those are some of my top 5 Christies. And this is like the new Barnes & Noble leather-bound edition, and there's a couple others in the series I think I might pick up. So I really, really enjoyed this, and that was so sweet of her to send. So yeah, really looking forward to putting this prominently on my shelf. I'm thinking in my new house, I'm gonna like build my Agatha shelf around this with its face out, potentially. So absolutely love those. So sweet of Bethany. I really appreciated that. And then one other gift from somebody else on BookTube. Lots of BookTube-ish gifts flying around here, which was so kind. The Little Monsters, or just sorry, Little Monsters by Kara Thomas. I got this from Amanda at the Naughty Librarian. This is one she really enjoyed, and I really enjoyed the Cheerleaders earlier this year, so I'm really excited to get to something else from Kara Thomas. So very sweet, and looking forward to getting to this one. Okay, then getting into some books I just sort of bought. I can't show you these yet, but I am doing another bookstore picks my TBR, and I got like a holiday box from the Ripped Bodice in LA, and it came with 3 blind dates with a book. So I got these 3 books wrapped with little descriptions on the front, and you'll see a whole video of me reading these and reacting to some books that I had no part in picking other than asking that they be sent to me. So we'll see how that goes, but I got these 3. Okay, and then some random ones that I got from Amazon. Some of these were on sale, and that's why I went ahead and got them, and others I just decided to get because I had a coupon or whatever. So first I got I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. I read this one earlier in the year, and it was like one of my favorite books of the year. Really recommend, and the hardback went on sale, so I was like, you know what, I really would like to have this for my shelves. Let me just go ahead and grab it. Highly recommend. Really, really good. Then I picked up the 3rd volume of MONSTRESS by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takata. I got this because it went on sale for like $7.50 one day, so I was like, well, guess I'm gonna go ahead and buy this one. So now I have all 3 of the bind-ups that are out right now, and I think the 4th one comes out this spring, so I'll be looking forward to that. So I got that. Actually, sorry, cut to in the future, realizing I didn't mention that I also got the 2nd volume of MONSTRESS in between the last haul and this one. Also because it went on sale. and I actually already read this and I liked it even better than the first one, so very hopeful for the third. Then I noticed that How Long Till Black Future Month by N.K. Jemisin was on sale for like $10, and I was like, for a nice hardback deckled edges from an author I really want to try, that's a great price. This is a collection of short stories, and I have several ebooks from N.K. Jemisin that I really want to get to, but seeing that she has a short story collection makes me really excited because that's one of my favorite ways to kind of get to know an author is through short stories. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm hoping maybe in January I can do this, and that might like spur me on to get to some of her bigger books. And then I was thinking about the fact that I hadn't been keeping up with some of the romance literature that I used to read, like in terms of like the academic study of the genre of romance. I did my big like paper in grad school on that, so I'm always interested in that literature. So I got two. I got one that's called Pursuing Happiness, Reading American Romance as Political Fiction by Laura Vivanco. So I think that this is a super interesting kind of take on romance, so I'm really interested in the kind of angle of this book. And then I've also already read a book from Laura Vivanco that I really enjoyed, like an academic study of romance about Harlequin romances. I'm looking forward to reading that one. And then I also got Happily Ever After, The Romance Story in Popular Culture by Catherine M. Roach. So she is a professor of, I think, like cultural studies at, I think, the University of Alabama, but she also writes romances under a pen name. So yeah, I think this will be super interesting to kind of get her take on things. And then a couple of used books that I got in my Powell's Black Friday order that I had been wanting to get, and I knew I was gonna have a hard time getting them new. So, you know, Powell's is one of the best used bookstores in the world, so I was happy to go ahead and pick them up. The first is The Kiss of LAMOURETTE by Robert Darnton. This is a book that I read good chunks of in a class that I took in college on the French Revolution, and always wanted to kind of come back and read the whole thing. So I'm excited to kind of revisit this because it's a cultural history of the French Revolution, and if you watch this channel, you know I love social and cultural history. And then also Family Fortunes, Men and Women of the English Middle Class from 1780 to 1850 by Davidoff and Hall. This is like a hallmark text in the area of like gender studies, like the evolution of gender roles in particularly English society, but it is also very applicable in a lot of ways to the American context. And yeah, I mean, this is something I engaged with a lot in grad school, so I wanted to have it, and I don't think I've ever read it in its entirety. So, you know, some moment when I'm just hanging out and want to reread it, I can come back and reread the whole thing. Okay, folks. We come to my favorite part of every haul, which is the books that I got as a part of a collection that I collect in. So let's start with the Everyman's Library. I got two in Red Spines because both of these hit their lowest price I'd seen them at in quite some time, so I went ahead and grabbed them. The first one being Animal Farm by George Orwell, and the other one being A Room with a View and Where Angels Fear to Tread by E.M. Forster. I've read and loved Animal Farm. I feel like many people in the English-speaking world have. I also really liked A Room with a View when I read it back in the day, but I've never read Where Angels Fear to Tread, so looking forward to getting to that one at some point. I also got a couple of the black-spined ones, one through my Powell's order, and the other one hit a really low price on Amazon, so I went ahead and grabbed it. So I've got Agnes Grey and The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte, but primarily I got this for the Agnes Grey bit because I think that's a classic that I'm going to try to read next year, so I'm really excited for this. And then The Age of Innocence by our friend Edith Wharton. So I read this in high school because I thought that I might pick Edith Wharton as we all had like a senior author project, and I thought I might pick her. So I read this and House of Mirth over a summer and ended up not picking her, but really remember enjoying the book. So I'd like to reread that at some point. And then here we go. The pièce de résistance of any of my hauls is the Penguin Clothbound Classics. So first up is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. This is in my Powell's order that I got on Black Friday. I really would like to read this. I've read War and Peace from him, and I've read one of the small ones. I forget what it was, but I've never read this and I really want to. So this is in theory a classic I might like to read in 2019, but definitely one I want to read someday. I got Inferno by Dante, which I wish that they had Purgatory and Paradiso as well in the Penguin Clothbound edition, but I do really love the little devil print on this one. It's like one of the cutest, like cheekiest prints they have going, but I am gonna get all three of them bound up together in the Everyman's Library edition so that I have the complete set, but that's pretty much just for my collection purposes. Then I have Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. Pretty sure I read this as a kid and it was like fine, but not great, if that makes sense. So yeah, definitely happy to have it. I like the little parrots. They're very appropriate for the content of that book. And then finally, I have The Travels by Marco Polo. Now, one of my Italian subscribers was telling me that in the original, this is called The Millions or The Million. So I don't know why it's called The Travels, but here you go. This is another one that's pretty much just for collection purposes. I don't know that I especially see myself sitting down and reading all of this. That being said, this was a fascinating like primary source text of early European and Asian relations. So yeah, maybe someday, we'll see. So yeah, guys, believe it or not, that was just a half of a month's worth of books. This is a very busy book buying time of the year for me. So what you gonna do? Like I said, I think I'm gonna really cool my jets here after the holidays because I've reminded myself like, oh yeah, at some point you're gonna have to move all of these. And at some point, I mean like pretty soon you're gonna have to move all these. So trying to do my future self a solid and not get too crazy, though I think we can all agree maybe that ship has sailed already. But anyway, let's not wring our hands about this. All that to say, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, follow me on the social medias if you are so inclined. I have all that information listed in the description box below. I think that will do it. Hope you're having a really great day, and I will just talk to you soon. Bye.